Hello everyone. Today we will learn about the additive inverse, multiplicative inverse in case of rational numbers, as well as whatever the properties we are going to use to solve the rational numbers equations. So let's understand what is additive inverse. Additive inverse is the negative of a rational number. For example, 2 by 8. So if I have to write down what is the additive inverse of 2 by 8 would be equals to negative of this number. So I'll put here a negative sign, then 2 by 8, and the answer is negative 2 by 8. Similarly, if I have to find out for negative 5 over 9. Now, since it's a negative number, so you have to always take care. So we'll write down here additive inverse of negative 5 over 9 is equals to, we'll put a negative sign because additive inverse is the negative of a rational number. Then a bracket, what is the rational number given to us? Negative 5 over 9. So we already know negative into negative when we'll do, it will become a positive number. So it would be 5 over 9. Similarly, if the question is about negative 6 over negative 5. So negative 6 over negative 5, we can solve it further. We can write it as 6 over 5 because this negative and negative sign will cancel. So if I have to write down the additive inverse of 6 by 5, it would be negative 6 over 5. Similarly, if I have to find out the additive inverse of 2 over negative 9. So what I write down here, I will write down here is equals to additive inverse of 2 over negative 9 is equals to negative 2 over negative 9. So if I'm writing 2 over negative 9, that means negative 2 over 9. So negative and negative we will multiply and we'll get it equals to 2 over 9. So this is how we can find out the additive inverse for the numbers. Now, the second one is the multiplicative inverse. So let's understand the multiplicative inverse, how we can find out for a rational number. Now, what is a multiplicative inverse? Multiplicative inverse is the reciprocal of the rational number such that when we multiply the rational number with the multiplicative inverse, we will get it equals to 1. For example, if I will take a number which is 2 by 8. So what would be the multiplicative inverse? The multiplicative inverse of 2 by 8 would be the reciprocal of it. Means we will switch the place of the numerator and denominator. Denominator will become numerator and numerator will become denominator such that when I multiply the rational number with the multiplicative inverse of the number, I will get it equals to 1. That is how we can find out the multiplicative inverse of a number. So, if I have to calculate the multiplicative inverse of negative 13. So, negative 13 can be written as negative 13 over 1. So, multiplicative inverse of negative 13 over 1 would be the reciprocal of it. Means negative 1 over 13. Similarly, if I have to find out the multiplicative inverse for negative 13 over 19. So the multiplicative inverse of negative 13 over 19 would be equals to negative 19 over 13. And if I have to check that my answer is right, so what I'll do, I'll multiply the rational number with the multiplicative inverse of the number, which is negative 19 over 13. We can solve it. We can solve this part and we'll get here negative 1 into negative 1, which is equals to positive 1. Similarly, if the question is about the multiplicative inverse of negative 5 over 8 into negative 3 over 7. So first we will multiply them. Negative 5 into negative 3 would be 15. 8 into 7 would be 56. So if I have to find out the multiplicative inverse of 15 over 56, it would be the reciprocal of it, 56 over 15. So that is how we can find out the multiplicative inverse of a rational number. Now let's understand some of the properties which we generally use to solve the rational numbers equation. So if you will see the first question, this question represents that 1 is a multiplicative identity. What it means, if we multiply a number with 1, we will always get the number itself. Similarly, for the second part, if you will see here, we are going to use here the commutative property. That means if we switch the numbers, the value will not change. So in the second part, we are going to use the commutative property. So we are going to switch the position of the numbers. So first here I have written negative 13 over 17 and here I have written negative 2 over 7 first. So we have switched their positions. This property is called as commutative property. So we can represent it as A into B should be equals to B into A. It's the reason here why we are getting this value equals to 1, because here we are calculating the multiplicative inverse of negative 19 over 29, which is equals to 29 over negative 19. And we know that when we multiply a rational number with the multiplicative inverse, we will always get it equals to 1. Similarly, if I write on here the another property, which is 1 by 3 into 6 into 4 by 3 within the bracket. And if I write down it as 1 by 3 into 6 into 4 by 3. So this is called as associative property. Which can be explained as A into B into C should be equals to A into B into C. That means if in the multiplication we have 3 different numbers given, so we can do the multiplication of the last 2 digits first, then we can multiply it with the first number, or we can multiply the first 2 numbers first. Whatever the answer we will get, we can multiply it with the third number. Both will give us the same answer. So this kind of a property is called as associative property. So that is all we are going to learn today. I hope you understand the concept of a additive inverse, multiplicative inverse, and the different properties which are associated with the rational numbers. If we have to solve the rational numbers equations. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share my channel link with your friends, and also leave a thumbs up in the comment section so that the video can reach to the wider audience. Thanks for watching.